This is our 2026 Project for Awesome video submission for Squires Empowering Young Dads, a mentoring and peer support group in Portland, Oregon for teen and young fathers. We're going to let some dads tell you more about it.
Yeah, so my brother actually had his first child at 14, going on 15, and he's younger than I am. So he would always disappear on Thursdays once a month, and he'd always come back saying that he did a bunch of fun things. And so once my son was born, he kept on inviting me. And then one time I'm just like, you know what, I'll go. I'm going to see how it goes, and then we'll go from there. And then I just kind of fell in love with it and been coming ever since.
Well, I found out through Squires through my therapist and stuff. I found it through a good therapist. I still have him to this day. That I'm not alone. That there are other fathers going through their own things in their own life, and it's just to have that perception, that knowing that everyone's going to go through their own thing, and it's good just to be able to have that source to be able to talk about everything, and so because you can't really talk about it with everybody and stuff, especially being a young father. Not everyone's going to understand, so it's good to have that source that people will understand.
I never had experienced anything like that. I didn't know something like this existed. I knew my brother was getting help or had somewhere people he can rely on. I just didn't know what this was about. And so once I got into it, I feel like the camaraderie, and then just being okay with being comfortable and vulnerable, I think was huge.
I remember there was like a time where I like yelled at my daughter one time, and because I got really, really angry, and I think going to that Squires, I was very awkward. I felt very like ashamed. Like I didn't really feel like I belonged there. And I remember I kind of talked about it and stuff. I didn't know what I wanted to say. I didn't know how to talk about it. But remember I talked about it and I just cried, and I said, I don't want to yell at my kid. I'm trying to not be as angry. But it was how accepting and how still loving and still showing the love that you're gonna mess up. So that's probably one of my favorite ones. It was just a small little Thursday, but it meant more than just a small little Thursday.
So I remember the first couple, it was during the summer. The first one was stand-up paddleboarding. And then the next month it was like American Ninja Warrior type thing. And I just remember I was having a really rough time with everything going on with my kid's mom, and I just kind of broke down. And we do our kind of like our monthly checkups, and where everybody just can, as a man, how do you feel? As a father, how do you feel? And it completely broke down, and that was, it was a big moment for me.
When in the beginning of Squires, I didn't read to my kid a lot, but I remember Shane was always talking about read, and then finally saying it so much, I started reading to my kid, and now for like a year now, I've been just reading to my kid all the time, and I feel like it has helped me stay connected with her, and that even when I know that when she's out, and sometimes when she listens to me really well.
Not just that, but also the reading, like being reminded consistently about how reading is so important, and then how I can relate that to my relationship with my kids now. It's been almost 8 years, I think over 8 years now since I've been in Squires, and my relationship with my kids has gotten even stronger, just mainly because of reading, and it's really important for sure.
I would encourage them, but even just like $5, even $1, even because every cent, it's still going towards something for other young dads that need it and stuff. So even when if a young dad can't afford some diapers for his kids, that we know that Squires, you can call Shane, you call one of the other guys, and that, hey, I just really need some help, and that, be able to really provide for all these other young dads. And sometimes there's these other dads that are not be able to provide as much as they can right now in jobs and trying to find a job, and so.
Squires has these events, and to be able to have these events, we need the money and the amount of people that it reaches out. And it's not just the same people, it's so many different people, so many different families, that it's absolutely insane to me. And I think it's crucial, and I think it's extremely important, especially for dads, because they play such a huge role in kids' lives, and for them to be a part of it and understand that it's okay to not know everything, and then Squires being there to help them through that. I think it's life changing for sure.